Good morning and welcome to the Mixmax onboarding webinar. My name is Jen. I work here at Mixmax, and today I'm going to walk you through the most important useful parts of Mixmax. So Mixmax is a platform for all of your team's external communications. If you're in sales, HR, recruiting, marketing, operations, management, Mixmax will help you reach out and engage with anyone outside of your organization, your customers, prospects, even your coworkers, in ways that give you much better results and save you time in your email every day. The goal of this webinar is to share some best practices that will help you save time and make your work a little bit more effective. So let's go through kind of an overview of what we'll cover today. I will spend about 30 minutes showing you some of the best practices within Mixmax, and then at the end we'll have time for questions. So over on the right side of your webinar software over here, there's an area where you can ask questions. So just go ahead and type your questions in there, and I will get to those towards the end of our time together today. So to give you kind of a review or an overview of where we're going today, here we have our agenda. So we are first going to talk about tracking. So that's knowing who engages with your emails and giving you information about how to follow up with your customers, prospects, or candidates based on the action that they're taking with your communication. Next, we'll talk about reminders, which tell you really how and when to follow up. Make sure you never miss a follow-up there. Then we'll go over templates. Templates are a way to write really powerful emails 10 times faster than you've been able to do before, and I'll walk through exactly how to do that. Next, we'll talk about scheduling and calendars. So as you're talking with people or communicating with people via email, at some point you're going to need to talk to them, be it in person or over the phone. And I know it's very frustrating to set up those meetings. There's a constant back and forth, trying to find a time when you're both available because people are just so busy these days. So we have a way with Mixmax to set up meetings that literally has zero back and forth. You can set up a meeting in no time. We have a few different options, and we'll go through all those options today. The fifth thing we'll cover is our Salesforce integration, which will save you from doing a ton of data entry. We have integrations with a few other CRMs as well, and we'll talk about that. And then sequences. This is a way to create personalized email campaigns, really at scale. So you can send some very personal seeming messages to folks all in a big batch. Reaching hundreds of people at once and really saving you a time while also keeping that very personal touch to your communications. And then finally, we'll talk about how to share these best practices with your team. Once you've discovered which templates are working for you, what kind of email content and subject lines are working, share that with your team and just help everyone on your team be that much more productive. So these are the 7 things we're going to cover today, and we will start with tracking. So we are going to start in Gmail. Now there are 2 parts to Mixmax. Mixmax is a Chrome extension that works with Gmail. We're going to hop over into Gmail here. And Mixmax is also a web app. So we'll start in Gmail, and then I'll kind of go back and forth today between Gmail and the web app. So in terms of tracking, Mixmax is providing you with information about who is engaging with your emails so you know exactly how to follow up. So I'm going to compose a new message here, just clicking the Compose button, and this pops up a Mixmax Compose window. Now you can tell that Mixmax is active and installed here by seeing these 2 little buttons here in your Compose window, the Send Now and Send Later buttons. And then we've also got these buttons in the top right, the Live Feed button and this Mixmax M. So these are just kind of letting you know that the Mixmax app is installed. So here we are in the Compose window. We're writing a message to Judy here, and I can determine whether I want to track this message. Down here on the bottom of the Compose window, there's a little lightning bolt, and we can choose to track opens and also to track clicks and downloads. So we'll know which links she's clicked, and we'll know if she's downloaded any files. So you can set this on a per message basis, and you can also set this as defaults in your settings. So this is how you determine what exactly you want to track. So once you've sent that message, there are a few different places that you can see this information. So I'm here in my Sent folder in Gmail, and you can see these lightning bolts here. The blue lightning bolts indicate tracking information. So I'm hovering right here over this blue lightning bolt shows that it's been opened twice, and we can see exactly who's opened it, even when sending to multiple people. And this is something that is very unique to Mixmax. Other programs cannot tell you who opened, even when you send to multiple people. And you'll notice here that we're also providing location tracking. We do that whenever we have that information available to us, and it just gives you a little bit more context into who's opening and where. And it's interesting, folks often forward messages within their organization. When someone forwards a message, we can't unfortunately tell you who are the new recipients of that message. No email program is able to provide that. But with location tracking, you can get a bit of insight into whether that email has been forwarded. If you see the same email opened in multiple different locations within a short period of time, the person's either on an airplane or they forwarded it around. So this is one place where you can see the tracking information right here in your Gmail sent folder by looking at these lightning bolts. Another place to look at tracking is in your live feed. So I'm up here in the top right corner, and I'm going to click the live feed button. And this is opening up the Mixmax web app. So here I'm in the live feed. You can see some high-level stats of the number of emails I've sent and my open, click, download, and reply rates. And then as I scroll down here, I'm seeing the live feed. So this is a Twitter-like stream of activity. All the emails I've sent, all of the open events, meeting confirmations, clicks, downloads, all of this information is right here. I can also filter. I could perhaps look only at the open events, only at the meeting confirmation events, just to filter to see, here are the folks I'm meeting with this week. You can also search. So I'm just going to click on this little magnifying glass icon up here, and we can see, choose by different types of activity, the open events for, say, Olaf. And we'll see what are those emails that Olaf has opened here. So you can get a lot of insight about who is interacting with your messages just right here from the live feed. And one thing to note, like one kind of best practice way to use the live feed is just to look at recent activity, because you may see open events from a prospect that you emailed a month ago, and now you can see that they're actually reopening your messages and kind of digging around. So that's a really good indication that they're interested. So you can just reach out to them now that you know that they're revisiting some of your earlier conversations. So that's a little bit about tracking. Let's go back to our agenda here. So that's telling you more about who engages with your emails, how are they engaging, are they opening, clicking, downloading, booking meetings with you, and you're able to get some analytics on that really shows you how effective are those emails that you're sending, and then how do you follow up? Who's opening? How do you determine how to follow up with them? The next thing I want to chat about is reminders. So this is the idea of never missing a follow-up. We have so many people we're communicating with. It's terrible when things fall through the cracks, and we all know that conversations fall through the cracks. There are probably deals out there that we have missed because we just didn't follow up, or customers who are going unattended to just because we didn't follow up. So here at Mixmax, we have a couple of different ways that you can always remember to follow up. So I'm going to go back into Gmail, and I'm going to compose a message here. I'm going to write to Judy. And a couple ways I can follow up with this message here. I can set a reminder. If I send this to Judy, I can set a reminder here, and I could add a note here. I can say, call her. And then I can automatically, what the reminder does is it brings the email back to the top of my own inbox at a particular date and time, given certain criteria. So suppose I'm asking Judy for some files here. I want her to send some files, and I need them by Friday. So if I haven't heard from her by like Friday, let's say 10 a.m., I want to set a reminder. So when I click this set reminder button right here, you'll see this yellow bar here. It shows me that a reminder is set to bring this message back up to my inbox if she doesn't reply to me by this particular date and time. So that just makes sure that I keep on top of things. You can set up reminders automatically so that you automatically get a reminder for each email. You can also set up these preset times so that you can choose the time, the date and time when you want to be reminded. Maybe there's like a particular time of day when you go through and deal with those tasks. So you want to set that up to always be happening, first thing in the morning. So this is how you set a reminder. Now, a couple other things that I'll get to in a second. Suppose, here's our message here, send the files, Judy, send the files. We could set this reminder and have ourselves follow up with Judy. Or if we know exactly what we want to say to Judy, maybe we don't actually need to follow up with her personally. We could automate this. So I'm going to remove that reminder and go into this automate menu. And I'm over here on this tab that says set reminder. What if instead I schedule a follow-up? So in this case, I'm going to choose a sequence. I'm going to choose follow-up version 1. And this is going to put Judy on a drip campaign if she doesn't write to me. So if she, again, doesn't follow up by, say, Friday, 10 a.m., we are going to set her on the sequence. So I'm going to click Set Sequence, and you will see what happens next. So if she doesn't follow up by Friday, 10 a.m., she'll receive stage 1 of this sequence. And we can see what that looks like. I'm just going to click the Edit button here. We can see what that looks like and edit this. It says, hi, did you get my prior note? Please send the files. And look, we're actually pulling in the subject line of the email that I just wrote there. So you can see the different stages that she'll receive. We can go ahead and edit these. One last chance to meet the deadline. Judy, I mean it. So there you go. So that's just giving you a chance to save that up, set her on this email campaign, and we'll go into more details on sequences in a few minutes, how to set those up. But I just want to point out this automate menu gives you 2 options to remind her yourself or to schedule her on a follow-up here. So let me show you one quick thing. I'm gonna put a reminder here. We'll do if no reply again by Friday. Set a reminder, and I'm going to send this message. And I want to do this just to show you what happens to that reminder once you send it. So I'm going to go back into the Mixmax web app, into this tab up here, and I'm going to click Inbox over here, or sorry, Outbox over here in the left column. So this is showing you everything that's scheduled. Could be sequence messages that are going out. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Could be emails that you've scheduled to send later. It could be those reminders. So this is where you're able to see that stream of stuff. This is the reminder that I just set up. Send the files if no reply by 10 a.m. on Friday. So that's the reminder that's going to come and pop to the top of my inbox. So your outbox here just gives you an overview of all of those pending items. While we're here, let's just chat briefly about send later. This is just a great way to save yourself time and make sure again that you don't forget to send that message. So pretend it's the weekend. I'm writing to Judy. We're talking about conference planning. I know that if I send this message to Judy over the weekend, she's not going to read it. It's not going to not going to be a great use of this email. So let's send this message later. So I want to send this Monday, 8:35 a.m. So I'm going to schedule that email to send later. And here it is. This is that message. It's going to send Monday. This is my send later event here. And we can see when we scroll down here, conference planning. So this is that email. It's scheduled to send Monday. So send later is great. I use it all the time. I tend to work in the evenings, and I don't always want my clients knowing that I'm sending this email to them at 10 p.m. So I can just have it pop up in their inbox first thing in the morning. So send later is really a great time saver there. So that's reminders, automated follow-ups, and send later. And again, you can find everything that's on your list that's scheduled to go out in your outbox here in the Mixmax web app. Okay, what is next? Templates. So if you found yourself writing the same email over and over, or copying and pasting from a Google Doc or something like that, templates are really going to save you a ton of time. And even if you're not sending a whole email out at a time, you're just taking little snippets of text, templates can be used for that too. So to show you this, I'm going to go into Gmail, compose a new message here, write to Judy. Now, in this scenario, I've just met Judy at a conference, and I want to follow up with her. I've met maybe 10 interesting people. I want to follow up with each of them. So I'm going to insert a template. It's called Conference Follow-Up. So I just went to the Insert menu here in my Gmail Compose window, and I'm just choosing from my templates here. I can choose a template this way, or I can use a keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to use the semicolon key, and then this template that I want is called Conference Follow-Up. So I'm going to take this, and here we go. So what we did is we just injected a whole email in here. So we've got Judy in the to fields here, and we have automatically added her first name here. Hi, Judy. Then we say, I hope you're having a good Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, and that filled in automatically. And then we've got a couple of other variables. So it was great to meet you at EmailCon. If I want to move to fill in the next variable here, I just hit the tab key, and I can just start typing. I want to show you really quickly, if for some reason I forget to fill this in, and I try to send this, we're going to catch you. We're not going to let you be embarrassed by sending out an empty variable. We'll catch you for that. So, enjoy talking about your work at JudyCo. So that's just a really easy way to add an entire email into here. So we've just got templated messages that we like to use over and over, customize them using those variables, and we're good to go. Another way that we could use a template is really as a text expander. So suppose I have my phone number. I just want to add my phone number to this message, insert that there, or perhaps a closing salutation. There we go. So all those phrases that you find yourself typing over and over, just go ahead and use them as a template. So next I'll show you how to create these templates. The easiest way to create a template is, suppose you've written a message and you are just like, oh, this is a great message. This belongs in my message hall of fame. You can save this message as a template. So just click this button from the Insert menu, Save as a Template, and save it. The other way to do this is to go into the Mixmax web app. So again, I'm going to click over here into this other tab and click Templates. And this is showing me all the templates that I've got. Templates are organized into folders. So here we'll take a look at our sales templates. And I can create a new template just by clicking this New Template button in the top left. So here we go. I can give it a title. So let's call this Outreach. And we'll call this Outreach 3 because we've had a couple of different versions of this. You can type a subject line in here. Let's just say hello. And then we can start typing. Now, I want to show you how to use those variables that I included in that prior example. So there's a button here at the bottom, Insert Variable. Just click that button, and you can choose from the variables here. The first few here are variables that we can pull in based on the contact, like their first name, last name, email address. We also have things like the subject line of the message, the day of the week, the time of the day. And then this next group of variables here are variables that we're actually pulling from Salesforce. So these are fields within our contacts and leads in Salesforce, and we can automatically pull those in here, so we can choose from that. So in this example, I'll just say, hi, first name, great to meet you. And then you can add anything else to this template that you want. You can add text, you can add some of the enhancements that we have here at Mixmax. Very, very simple to just, create that. And then you can share your templates, and we'll talk a little bit more about sharing towards the end of our time together here. But you can share a template with your entire team, or you could share it with an individual person. Share it with Hugo over here. So that's basically how to create that template with those variables in it. And you can again use this to create the entire message, or you can use it to create just a text expander, just some snippet of text that you find yourself recycling over and over. There we go. So that's our template. We call it Outreach 3, just to show you that here. We'll write to Judy, and let's insert that template. Again, the keyboard shortcut here is the semicolon key, Outreach 3, and we just said, hi, Judy, great to meet you. So that's very briefly how to use templates. So now you should be able to write those effective emails 10 times faster than you did before. And not only is this saving you time, but it is also providing you with some really powerful data. So this is showing you how many times you've sent a template, plus the open, click, download, and reply rates. So if this was, you know, a real email, and we saw that my open rate was only 18%, I would definitely want to do something with that subject line. I should be getting much, much higher open rates in the 80 and 90 percentages, depending on who I'm emailing to. Same way with clicks and downloads and replies. You know, decide what's the action that you want someone to take from this email. Is it to click to learn more? Is it to download a file? Is it to reply, to book a meeting? You can really hone your messaging based on these data. And when you share templates with other people on your team, we wrap up all the data for everyone right here. So you have a little bit more information now to understand how effective your messages are. And you can do, this is kind of showing you here, we're doing a little bit of A/B testing, testing different templates against one another. Maybe they have different subject lines, maybe there's different content, but we can now evaluate different messaging because we have the stats to do it. So that is templates. Now, next thing to chat about is instant scheduling. So again, when you're sending folks messages, eventually you're probably going to need to chat on the phone, do a demo, check in, have a kickoff call, 100 different reasons why you may need to meet with a person. And it can be very painful to go back and forth to pick a time for that meeting. So Mixmax has a few different options, ways to really double your meeting confirmation rate and get that set up instantly. So I'm going to go back here to Gmail, compose this message. I keep deleting this email signature. I'll hopefully have some time to chat about email signatures towards the end here. Okay, we're meeting with someone. A few different ways to set up that meeting. I'm going to first use our keyboard shortcut /meeting. And this is automatically adding times from my calendar when I am available. So when the person who receives this email clicks a time, they will each receive we will each receive a confirmation email, and this time will be placed on both of our calendars. If for some reason something on my calendar has popped up before my recipient clicks a time, I won't get double booked. This will check against my calendar to make sure that I'm free. If I'm busy, my recipient will be prompted to choose one of the remaining available times. So again, that was just a very quick thing I did there, just to show you how I did that again. It's /meeting. And you can choose the length of time if I want it to be 45-minute meetings. There we go. That's just how we did it. Now, supposing I want to choose specific times, a couple ways to do that. I can hover bottom and choose share availability, or I can use another keyboard shortcut, /cal. So let's do that, /cal. And now what's happening is I am pulling up my calendar. And what I can do next is just choose a couple of times on my calendar when I'm free. You'll notice it doesn't let me offer times when I'm busy. So I'm just going to choose a couple of times here and insert those there. So those are the times that I've added, hand selected. I'm going to hop back into that editor and show you a few other pieces that you can really customize here. So, you know, we can drag across to create a whole bunch of times. We can create blocks that are longer here. We can choose over here to prevent double booking. And then one of the most powerful pieces here is that you can actually schedule on someone else's calendar. So here you'll notice my times here are blue. I'm scheduling on Grace's calendar. But if I want to, I could schedule on Judy's calendar. So clicking Judy over here, the times turned purple because her calendar color is purple. So this is excellent if you are an SDR scheduling for an AE, if you're an admin who's scheduling for an executive. Very easy to see what's available on the other person's calendar, choose some times, and actually schedule on their calendar. Huge time saver. Now, another thing that you can do here is add additional guests. So in this scenario, we are going to add a sales engineer to our call. So I want to add Hugo here, and you can see that we've just added him as an additional guest. So when our recipient books a meeting, Hugo will also be invited to that meeting. So this just saves a ton of time and mental energy. So I don't need to wait until this meeting gets set up and then remind myself to add Hugo. I can do it right here. You can also choose the time zone. So suppose I'm communicating with someone who's in Chicago. Just type in Chicago here, and it'll show me the time zone. And that's just going to change the way that the times show up in the email. Finally, you can have a particular title for our event, a location. We will remember prior values that you've used to fill in here, and you can also set these in your settings. So this is the share availability piece, which has just a ton of flexibility. Now, we find that people actually get better reply rates using this because these buttons are just so easy to click. It's just, here are the times, click the button, there you go, all scheduled. Sometimes you might want to offer many, many times. Maybe you want to give someone your entire calendar for the next 3 weeks or something like that. And so for that, we have a separate solution. For that, we are going to use a calendar link. So I just went down to the calendar icon here at the bottom of the compose window, and I'm clicking insert calendar link. And this is adding a link. So when I click this, the recipient clicks this, it opens up my calendar as a website. So it's a public calendar, anyone can book with you, and you can see here are the times that are available. When they click to choose a time, it'll ask for their name and email. And if they have received this in an email, we already know their name and email, so they don't need to fill it in. But we can put in here Judy, email Judy@Mixmax, and we'll choose this time. And then they get a nice confirmation page that just sort of confirms this is what they're doing. And they'll also get a confirmation email as well, automatically. So very, very simple way to set this up. We have quite a few options for you in terms of choosing the times you make available. So I'm back in the Mixmax web app, clicking calendar over here on the left, and here's where you get to choose the custom URL that you want for your public calendar, and then you can choose the times, sort of your office hours, if you will, the hours during which you want to book meetings. And so in this scenario, I have a meeting-free Wednesday. You can choose the days when you want to be booking. So I always put 1 here. This ensures that I don't get meetings on the same day. If I want same-day meetings, I can set this to 0. Otherwise, I like to set it to 1. Then we can also choose how far out we want to go. We're booking 21 days out. And then we have a couple other settings. You can dig into those. And then here's where you set the name of the event as well. So ton of flexibility in terms of how to schedule those meetings. But no matter how you do it, it's going to be instant, it's going to be quick and easy for your recipient to choose a time when they're available. So we have a few different options there. Great. So while we're talking about the calendar, kind of adding that information into the email that's really setting your email apart, I want to chat about a couple of other things here. So in addition to this calendar down here at the bottom, we also have this enhanced menu. And this is a whole menu full of stuff that you can add to your emails to both make your emails stand out and help you to be a more persuasive communicator and share some more interesting stuff in your emails. One of those things, one of the favorite things, is YouTube. So you can do /YouTube, and I'll just search YouTube for a video on Mixmax. So there we go. Now what we're doing is we are inserting that YouTube video right in the email, and it'll play right in the email as well. So that's just a fun way to provide some more information about your company, about your product, right in your email. Another popular thing is to add a GIF. So we can do /GIF, and I want to do one with someone waving. So let's choose a waving. Oh, this is good. We'll take these waving bears. So again, a fun way to make your email stand out. Now, YouTube videos, GIFs, super fun. Let's do something a little bit more actionable. Let's talk about polls. So here I'm going to do /Y, which is going to pull up our yes/no question. So This is a great way to both boost your reply rate and get some really clear answers. So suppose we're doing some troubleshooting with a customer. So we can say, did that fix the issue? And we can say, yes. We say, yes, all set. And then we can say, not yet. So insert that into your email. And now they can choose which the answer is here. So that's a great way to say, like, if a person misses a call with you, do you want to reschedule? Yes, send some times. No thanks. Just really great way to get a clear answer from the person you're emailing with. Another option is a poll /poll, and this is a multiple choice question here. So we can say, you know, what's your t-shirt size? Small, medium, large, and then we can insert that. Great way to get really clear responses from the folks that you're emailing with. And then finally, the last poll type is a Q&A, short answer question. So we can say, like, you know, how can we improve? And there it is in a QA box. They can actually enter that information in the email. And whenever anyone fills out any of these types of questions, it will send you a notification email showing you their answer. It will also count as a reply, and in a second we'll talk about sequences, and we'll learn like why it's important that this would count as a reply. So that's just a little bit about that enhanced menu down here. Just a few things. I showed you the YouTube video. I showed you how to add a GIF, as well as how to add a few different polls. And that's just going to increase your reply rate and make your emails stand out from the crowd. So let's see. Okay, next we can talk about CRM integration. So Mixmax integrates with CRMs in a couple different ways. The first thing you can do is automatically BCC any CRM. So any CRM that you're using, you can set it up over here. I'll show you in your settings here. Let's go to settings, CRM and Team Live Feed. You can automatically BCC your CRM. And we've got a couple different articles in the Help Center that help you to find this special address depending on which CRM you're using and automatically add that. Now, if you're using Salesforce, we have a deeper integration. And that is an integration with the Salesforce API. So you can actually sync different types of events to Salesforce. You could sync, you know, every email you send, open events, click, download, reply, meeting confirmation events into Salesforce. So you don't ever need to go ahead and update Salesforce from within Salesforce. A couple things here. Let's see. Well, you'll notice over here on the right-hand side that we have a Salesforce sidebar. So what this is doing is pulling information about this record or this contact in Salesforce. And we can edit this information over here, and that we do a bidirectional sync, so those changes will automatically show up in Salesforce. We are also showing you the activity history. So these are those events that we're syncing back and forth with Salesforce. So it's great if you're receiving an email from someone, you can just quickly take a look over at the sidebar and see, you know, what's your communication history been with this person, and get a little bit of context there. You can also create new tasks over here. So it's a great way to just keep on top of all of the things that you need to do, all within Gmail. You don't need to go back and forth to Salesforce. The other thing I want to point out is that all of these fields in the records will also be available to you to use in your templates. Remember those template variables I showed you, as well as your sequences. So it's a very, very easy way to have all the information all in one place and really use it to your advantage when you're communicating with people. While we're here in the sidebar, I want to click very briefly over onto this little person here. Let's see. Hugo here is not a real person, but if he were, we would see some social media information about him. So it's just a way to get some more information about a contact or a prospect, and then you can switch between this view as well as the Salesforce view. And if you have someone that you're emailing with that is not yet a record in Salesforce, you can create a record. So you can create a contact, lead, opportunity, or task for this email address, and it'll automatically sync to Salesforce. So that's a bit about that Salesforce integration. It's very powerful. It keeps you out of working in Salesforce and Gmail and switching back and forth between the tabs, you can just stay here within Gmail. A lot of our customers found that it saves a ton of time. The Salesforce UI can be a little bit clunky and a little bit slow, so this just saves that kind of mental tax of needing to go back and forth. Great. So let's see. Let's take a look at our next thing to cover, which is sequences. So sequences are personalized email campaigns that you can create at scale, so you can really communicate with hundreds of people at once, but in a way that still feels very personalized. So to do sequences, let's go again into our web app, and I'm going to click Sequences. So let's create a new sequence. I'm clicking New Sequence here in the top left, and we will call this Outreach. We can import a list either from Salesforce. If I click this, here is a view of some lists from Salesforce. I can choose that, and it'll pull in all those fields that I can use as variables within my sequence. Or I can import a CSV. So let's do that. I'll just grab this CSV here, and that's pulling in this information. So I can actually edit any of this information. So let's see, I want to change the color. It could be, there we go. And notice also that I have these different columns here. Each of these column names is going to become a variable that I can use in my sequence. So let's go here. We'll edit the stages. This is our next step here. And here we have the stages here. So I can go ahead and say, you know, hello, first name. Just click that button. It's going to fill with the information that we've seen before. You can also use that in the subject line. So, you know, checking in on company. You can add anything you want here. We could add that YouTube video. You can also add, let's see, you can also add a template here if we want to do that. So let's go ahead and add our closing template. And really anything that you can do in any Mixmax email you can put here in the sequence. Let's add another stage to that sequence. So I'm just going to click Add Another Stage under here, and I can choose the circumstances for sending that next stage. So suppose I want to follow up in 4, let's choose weekday, so we're careful to never send on the weekend, and we can choose to follow up if they don't reply, if they don't open, or we can follow up regardless of whether they reply or open. I will say most of our customers are following up if no reply, because really when we send an email, what we want is to then have a deeper engagement. We want them to book a meeting with us. We want them to reply. All recipients is good if you're sending out sort of like a newsletter or like an onboarding series of emails, but I think no reply is probably the most popular option here. You can choose to send this as a reply, so you can notice that the subject line is checking in on company, or you can turn that off, turn off send as reply, and you'll get a whole new subject line. Okay, whole new subject line there. We can add our content, hi first name, following up. We continue to add more stages, and here our best practice here is to not be shy with adding stages. We have customers who are very, very successful in using 5 and 6 stages, so I would say don't be shy. So in this case we'll have 3 stages, but maybe we want to say like this is our last stage, following up in 10 weekdays if no reply, you know, hi first name, last chance. One thing to point out is that you can send different stages from different email aliases. So we can send this as though it's coming from a totally different person, but just by choosing from this in the from field. So that's a bit quickly about how to create those sequences. Now, on the premium plan, we have the option to personalize these sequences. So I'm going to click over here on the left-hand side, Personalize for Individuals, and we'll see exactly what the sequence will look like for this person. Maybe this is a person I already know, and I can say, you know, great to talk to you last week. And I would only do this for this one recipient because this is the only person who I spoke to. So we can make this change to this email, but then you'll see if we take a look at the next one on the list, we don't have that particular sentence for this particular person. So you can go ahead and and customize there. Next, you can confirm, just kind of make sure all your settings are correct, that you're tracking clicks and downloads and syncing to Salesforce if you want to be, and then we can go ahead and activate that. So we're going to go ahead and send that sequence, and you'll see here that we get some stats. We get some information like, what's the open rate, click, download, reply rate, what's our bounce rate, and we can see here for each individual how many times did they open it. We also have some options here. If we want to personalize that sequence again, the stages we haven't sent yet, just click personalize. We can't change this stage because we've already sent it, but we could personalize follow-up stages, change the time or date when we're going to send the next stage. This is great if you get an out-of-office reply from a person. Out-of-office reply will leave the person in the sequence, but if they're gone, for 2 weeks or something, then I can just reschedule this stage so it'll follow up once they're back in the office. So I can just go ahead and change that, and then they will receive that. They and only they will receive that later on, and then the follow-up stages are all kind of pushed out as well. So great options in terms of flexibility there. If someone calls you on the phone and you want to remove them from your sequence, very easy. Just click to remove them, and great. The other thing you can do here is reuse your sequence. So you could click this Add Recipients button up here, go ahead and upload another CSV, import another list from Salesforce, or just manually type in the information here. So we make it really easy to, once you've established something that's working, just keep on using it. Okay, so this is how you use sequences if you want to send to a group of people in bulk. Maybe there's a couple other things you want to do here. Maybe you're in your email and you're replying to somebody, or you're writing a new message and you just want to send that sequence to one person. So here we're going to write to Hugo, and I'm going to insert a sequence over here. So I'm going to go to Sequences, and let's just choose this will be a different campaign than we just looked at, but we'll just insert the sequence. Now we know Hugo's first name because it's in the to field, but we don't know Hugo's company. So if there's any variables that we don't have, we can just put them in here. We can call him Hugo Co. as his company, and then we can confirm that, and that will insert the information from that sequence. So this message that we're composing right now is stage 1, and this was not the most exciting sequence. You just say hi Hugo, and we have a subject line. But then you can see that he will start to receive follow-up messages, and you'll see the dates and the subject lines, and then you can also edit those follow-up messages. So this is a great way to deal with inbound leads. You receive an email from someone, you say, hey, let's schedule a meeting, and you don't hear from them. Well, this way they're going to be on a drip campaign. It's going to keep following up with them until they book a time to meet with you. So great. Yeah, so that's sequences, some of the flexibility in terms of being able to add them directly from Gmail here, as well as sending in bulk from the Sequences tab over here. If you're a Salesforce user, there's actually a Salesforce list view in Salesforce where we've added a button where you can send that entire list the sequence. So, so that's kind of a great shortcut if you tend to work out of Salesforce. Also, anytime you click a mail to link, here I'm just going to click the compose button here in the web app here, but if you see mail to links, for example, in Salesforce and anywhere else, you're going to pull up the Mixmax compose window, and then you can always insert a sequence from there as well. Great, so that is sequences. The last best practice I want to share with you is about enabling your team to kind of get all of the productivity gains that you yourself experience with Mixmax, and sharing those resources with them too. So we are going to go into the web app again and look at teams. So you can create a team, you can invite folks to join the team, you can set whether people are going to be an admin or a member, and then you can share those resources with your team members. And remember, I showed you a few minutes ago how to share a template, or in fact a folder of templates with your team. You know, you can turn on sharing to your whole team. You could share with individuals. So this is just a great way to make sure that everybody has access to those resources that are really working for you. And it can also give you some good insight into which resources they're using and what's working for them. So sharing resources like templates, coming very soon we will have shared sequences. I know that's been a very popular request, coming soon. And we also have a team live feed. So your team can choose to sync the emails they send to the live feed, in which case you can filter here to look at emails sent by your team. And you can see who's sent it. In this case, it's only me and my team. You can see who's sent it, and you can't actually look at the content of those emails, but you can see the subject line, who is opening, if they're opening. It again gives you really good insight into how your team is interacting with your customers, with your prospects. We have some of our customers and teams that are working with us are actually using Mixmax as sort of a lightweight CRM, in that they're using the team live feed to get context in terms of who's emailing with who. We also have here a contacts feature which can give you information and kind of store information, fields, custom fields, notes here, a way again to kind of start to use Mixmax as a lightweight CRM to keep a record of your communication, as well as information about them and their company. So that was sort of a little bit of a diversion there into contacts, but really I wanted to just share with you the team live feed, and the analytics that we have showing you what's working both for you and for your team. Great. So the next thing on our list here is to chat about questions. So let me take a look and see what kind of questions folks are asking. Let's see. Okay, someone had a question here about email signatures. So you saw me kind of go in and delete that email signature periodically throughout today. So a couple things you can do in terms of email signatures. Now, if you have an email signature in Gmail and you like it, you can keep on using it. I'm just going to click here the settings button. We're going to look at our Gmail settings page, and we can scroll down to the section where you have your signature. And what you do here is you just click this button, import signatures to Mixmax. Signatures have been imported, and so now when we compose a message, you'll see that that signature has been added here. So that's just a super easy way to import those email signatures into Mixmax. We have a few other things you can do within Mixmax. I'm going to go into settings and find signatures. So here's that signature that we just imported. Another option is to, create that here. And we have a fun thing, it's the social badges. I use these in my own signature. We can do /social. And this just gives you the option to, say you want to have your Twitter link in here. So at Mixmax is our Twitter username here. So we can just insert that badge. And that's just going to add that little Twitter icon. And we can do that with any other social media links that we want to add there. Another thing that people like to do is have a link to their calendar booking thing within their signature. So let's quickly go into the calendar, and we're going to copy our calendar link here. Just copy that. Go back into, let's see, settings, signatures, and we can add in here, book a time with me. I'm going to select this, and then I can use this little button here at the bottom to make this into a link and paste that link. So that's just a super quick way to be able to put all that into your signature. Another kind of pro tip on using that link to your online calendar is to create a template with that. So let's go into templates, and we can call this my calendar link today. So we can say, book a time with me today. Here's my calendar. And we can go ahead and again paste that link there. And we can save that, book a time with me today, here's my calendar. And then when we're writing an email to a person, just use that template. So you can see we have our email signature in there. I'm going to use that book a time, or what we call it, calendar link, my calendar today. Book a time with me today, here's my calendar. So again, using that text expander to go ahead and insert the calendar link in there. Another thing that folks really love to do with templates is using those yes/no questions and polls and stuff, and creating templates for those too. I think we have one with a t-shirt size. T-shirt size, yep. So again, just inserting that very quickly into an email there. Great, let me see what other questions have come in. Okay, a person is using Zoom video calling for her calls. Is there a way to have calls that people schedule with me auto-populate with a Zoom video call link? Excellent question. So we are working on an integration that will, when you create those invitations, generate a brand new, fresh Zoom link. In the meantime, what we recommend is using the same link. You go into your event invite options here. And so, let's see, typically we would use this availability one. Our location here could be zoom.com/my-own-link. And that's going to be the location here. So that's going to show up in every one of your emails. And that's just going to show up as or not every one of your emails, sorry, every one of your calendar invitations, and that's just going to be your link there. So folks will always know what link to use. So that's, again, in your calendar settings under the location there. Super. Can you add a bunch of slots on your Gmail calendar and then have them populate in Mixmax? I'm a bit confused by this question. I guess this is like choosing the particular times that you want to use, that you want to be offering. And I think the option that we have here is to set these office hours here. And then coming soon, we're going to have some more granular settings here, as well as different types of calls. Like you could have right now your calendar link is a 30-minute link. And then here you'll be able to choose between a 30-minute, maybe I'll have another link that's for 15 minutes, something like that. Great. So let's see, what else? Other questions that we've got here today. Oh, good question. Someone had a question about changing the font of what their email looks like. So again, you can do that in your settings here under composing. You can choose a few different fonts. You can choose a standard font. You can choose from a variety of different fonts there as well. Great. Other things in the settings, just for fun, you could choose, to have a different color scheme here. Undo send is a very helpful thing that folks have really enjoyed using. It basically delays the sending of your email for a few seconds. We have a few options here. We recommend 10 seconds for undo send, and it works just the same way that undo send does for Gmail. So great. Well, that is all the questions that we've had today. It's been wonderful to chat with you guys and tell you a little bit about Mixmax and how to use Mixmax to really be successful with your team. Last thing I want to cover is how to learn more. So we have a link here at the very bottom here in the sidebar of the Mixmax web app. It's Get Help. So this is pulling up a little box that you can search if you want to get some help on sequences. This is searching our help center. We can choose this. We've got tons of articles and videos for you. You can pop it out over here in the top right. This is opening up a new tab where we can explore the help center over here. And then if that little article here doesn't provide you with the information you need, feel free to send us a message, and that will go to our customer success team, who is happy to tell you more about Mixmax. Super. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to chat with you and tell you more about how you can use Mixmax to be successful with your emails and your communication. It's been great, and I look forward to hearing from you and hearing about your experiences with Mixmax. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.